Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.
Yo. What's up, man?
What up?
It's good, man.
Nothing. Tip off. All right, this off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo. Oh my God. Yo, grow up. Yo. Oh my God. This is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B. I said the most dittiest thing that I'm not gonna repeat it, but I do have some nerve.
Hey man, sometimes our immaturity gets the best of us. But what's good though, man?
Nothing, man. Just a lot going on. I mean, shoot, we're down to the final 4 teams in the NBA. I'm not going to bore everybody to death because I haven't been keeping up with it. But I hear like hockey has got like a good series going too.
Yep.
It's really exciting. Baseball is starting to kick up.
Baseball is baseball. Right?
Yeah.
We wait till August, September.
Right.
I think we're good on that.
We got football going pretty good. So, man, where you going to start?
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I think let's start NBA. Let's start with the conference finals. I think that I feel like I'm not gonna say I told everybody, but I was saying Minnesota was gonna beat Denver, and I stayed with my pick. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't a flip flopper, but they put on a show because they were down. What I believe 20 or 22 or something like that. They were down and ended up coming back and winning by, I believe it was 8, I believe. So when you have a team like Denver they are champions, they are a loaded squad, and it's like you're gonna have to knock them out, right? And they beat them twice on their home floor to start. Then they ended up losing 2 at home. So it was like they won 3 in a row, actually. They ended up winning 3 in a row. So it was like, damn, do they got what it takes? But Anthony Edwards is a dog, and those pieces that they got are crazy. So,
I mean, they were built to beat Denver. I think the Joker said that they were playing against a team that obviously was built to beat them. I think you had highlighted this before, and you were absolutely correct. It's not just Anthony Edwards; it's the 2 bigs that do just different things. They don't really both clog up the middle of the lane. Gobert, he gets out there, he defends. Karl Anthony Towns, he's a modern day big man to where he can stretch the floor by like shooting, and then I don't think a lot of attention goes to Mike Conley. The way that he's been able to like facilitate everything and being that engine, and you just look at it. And I was thinking about this the other day, right? Because I was thinking about the old Florida teams, and it got me to thinking, the one with Al Horford, and you think about with Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, that team.
Right.
And I just remember Greg Oden playing on that Ohio State team. And Greg Oden was just that guy, right? And I'll give most people a history lesson. Most people already know this, but there was a time when people felt like Greg Oden was the safer pick at the number 1 pick, right? That he was going to be the next generational talent. But then you had this guy, Mike Conley, right? And for that entire year, he progressed because that was their freshman year.
Right.
But I felt that he was good, but he definitely wasn't the star of that Ohio State team. And I would have never imagined that he would have had the career that he's turned out to have watching him on that Ohio State team. So, yeah, you know, just thinking like so he was part of the 07-08 draft class. But you look at that was almost 18 years ago. So he's been playing in the league 18 years.
That's crazy.
And to be playing at the level that he's playing
First
at.
of all, he looks like he's in his 20s.
Yeah. He hasn't aged too much. So
So I feel like Minnesota presents a matchup problem for Dallas. Well, we can talk about Dallas defeating OKC because OKC was the 1 seed. I think Dallas was the 5, right?
Yeah.
Dallas is the 5 seed. So I feel like that was going to be a good series, but it seemed to me as if Luka and Kyrie were but their role players. Their role players were pretty much took over that series. You had Kyrie did his thing, Luka did his thing, but you got something different from those role players damn near every game. And honestly, that series should have been over in 5. It shouldn't have been, I think it was 6, but it should have been over in 5 because they blew a lead in game 3. Yeah, game 3, they blew the lead.
Yeah, but it goes back to what you were saying, right? And we talked about this throughout the year because that Dallas team, they've always been, in my opinion, prior to this season, as mediocre, right? You had them with the addition with Kyrie, right? And a lot of people were skeptical of how that was going to work, right? Because they had Jalen Brunson, that seemed to work. Kyrie, most people maybe not now, but at the time, you know, Kyrie looks to be an upgrade. But then you really look at Kyrie and his career path, right? So you look at, you know, he's at Cleveland, wins the championship with LeBron, wants to be the man, goes to Boston, and that team just never like turned the corner with him. You know, they were good.
They were always better without him.
Yeah, they were always better. So he gets traded out of Boston. He goes to the Nets, and he's part of this super team to where, like, on paper, a lot of people would consider that one of the best teams on paper that you could possibly assemble. So that team never live up to their potential, just whether it was Kyrie's public image, James Harden kind of aging a little bit before our eyes, you know, Durant and all those guys not being healthy. So you get them with Dallas and you say to yourself, you're like, you know what? What's going to be different here? Because, you know, I've even been on the show and said, like, yo, Kyrie has a lot of baggage, right?
Right.
And you wonder, you're like, well, Luka is ball dominant. Kyrie is ball dominant. How is this possibly going to work? And initially, at first, it didn't look like it was going to work because I think when they first got to each other, Dallas ended up missing out on making playoffs. Yeah, they missed the playoffs. You bring them back. Somebody in that organization had the foresight to say, you know what? Let me get all these pieces, right? So, you know, they brought in the guy, Daniel Guilford, or no, it's Gafford. Gafford from Washington. You bring in PJ Washington. You bring in all these pieces that I thought at the time that was overkill. That, you know, they were getting just bigs that necessarily didn't fit. But then it goes back to what Minnesota was doing. They were assembling themselves so that they could beat Denver. And then now you're starting to see to where Kyrie, he's so confident in his skin to where, you know, people are like, what's wrong with Kyrie? Nothing. He knows when he knows how to play with Luka. He knows when to give him the night off. And pick up the scoring. He lets Luka do his thing, and it seems to be working and clicking at the right time.
I mean, that also comes from, playing with LeBron and playing with, playing the few games he did play with KD, and Harden and a young Tatum. Was Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown was there.
Yeah,
too,
Jaylen Brown was
there.
there.
Yeah. So I mean, he's played with a ton of stars. So I think right now, Kyrie is in a situation like, it ain't really much that you could tell him. And to me, he seems a lot more mature than he had been, previously. And like he's the actual positive person in the locker room. Like he had what was it? I think it was a couple weeks ago. They were down. They might have lost the game. He posted positive messages in the press conference. He's like, "Yeah, we're fine," and it just feels different than it was like a few years ago.
Well, you know what it kind of reminds me of, and I know this is a strong comparison. No, but just follow me for a second, right?
Okay.
It reminds me of Kobe Bryant's story. And I'm not comparing Kobe Bryant and Kyrie's like talent, right? Right. I'm not going to put them in the same sentence. They're both sensational players, apples to oranges. But for a brief stint like that, Kobe, it felt like that Kobe Bryant was at one point in his career public enemy number one.
Absolutely.
And it felt like that he had to do a lot of repair work, with his locker room image, that like Shaq stuff, all the other stuff. Yeah, I followed him, but like the way that it kind of like played out with him and Shaq, a lot of people didn't like how that played out. And after a while, when people got to know Kobe, it was like, okay, he's not that big. He's not that bad of a guy. And I think it's shortly what started to turn the tables for Kobe and his public image was when he was able to win one without Shaq.
Right.
And I feel like that Kyrie Irving is on the same like path to where, the last couple of years, he's been, criticized about, some of his views, some of the things that he's been doing, off the court, but it feels like that's behind him. And it feels like if he somehow, some way is able to win a championship with Luka, I see this shift in his public opinion going away too.
And Kyrie.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on record and say whoever win that series is winning the championship. Do you agree?
Yes.
You have Boston and Indiana and the other side.
So you brought up something,
and
it hurt my heart when you said it. Like it hurt my feelings, but we were on air, and I couldn't cry. I had to remain tough. And what really hurt my heart was you quoted Colin Cowherd, right? and I'm just going to paint a little perspective. Just bear with me, people. So Anthony, I want to tell you, right? He's got to be an objective listener because Colin Cowherd hates the Cowboys, right? And during football season, it's like the Cowboys can never do any right. But for whatever reason, this guy just keeps listening to Colin Cowherd. And look, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him because what he does with being able to talk to yourself.
Yeah, but he has a bunch of people.
He has a bunch of people that he brings in guests, but the way that he can really still tell a story, keep you engaged, and do that by himself consistently is what I call one of the hardest things to do on the show. But anyway, right? So I've digressed, right? So last week you told me, you said, I never agree with Colin Cowherd, but He did say something that I agree with.
Wait. Is that how I sound? Wait a minute. Is that how I
That's how
sound?
you sounded. Yeah, that's exactly.
I had a cold or something.
Yeah,
But-
that's exactly how you sounded. And
Okay.
I was sitting there, I was like, okay, you agree with Kyle Cowherd. He was like, could it be possible the Pacers are not that good? And you quoted and you started talking about all the injuries that the Knicks have, right? And you started talking about like, you know, this team is like struggling to play against. I mean, even as a Knicks fan, it hurt me to see, man, those guys. It was like they was playing 5-on-12, man. It was
rough. It was
yeah.
rough to watch.
And it was one of those things to where my heart was telling me, look, it's your team. You got to root for them. They're going to pull it through. But the other part of me is like, dang, yo, when is enough? Like, yo, that last game when like everybody like when Obi came out and pulled his hamstring and it was just
bad, man.
your heart looked bad. Like Brunson just went out and poor Tibbs is just looking like, like yo, can we just get out? Can we just get out of this game? So that's my recollection of Indiana. And we'll get to the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is I don't have much stock in Indiana. It just and it's not just because they beat the Knicks. It's that series had no reason to be in the game 7. And you look at all the talent that they have on that team, and you said it, you was just like, you know what? Indiana just may not be that good.
Now I'll say this: Tyrese Halliburton he's a good player. I think he is going to be one of the stars in this league. He has an awkward jump shot that looks funny when he shoots it. It always goes in. But Indiana have some good role players, right? Like Miles Turner, I think is a good player. I think he's a little higher than a role player. I think
No Diddy, he's a tweener. He's a tweener.
Okay. Okay. But I'll say this: like they outplayed Boston, but that brings me back to what I said probably 2 weeks ago. That Boston to me just seems like fool's gold. I do not believe in Boston. They should have lost last night. I think anybody that watched that game felt like Boston probably should have lost. Indiana gave it away, and now they got the momentum, but I still don't even believe in that momentum. That they forced the game into overtime, and Jason Tatum took over, had to go overtime. Do I believe that Boston is going to win this series? Absolutely. Do I think that Boston might mess around and get swept in the finals? Absolutely. Do I think they're going to get swept in the finals? I don't. But they're going to lose.
So this is what this series is, right? And I may be off key on this. This is just the initial impression from watching Boston and watching Pacers. Both teams have a tendency to play to their level of competition. Clearly,
Correct.
the Pacers played down in the Knicks series, right?
Yeah.
And clearly, like Boston, they have a tendency to play with their food. Yesterday, Indiana should have won that game. But the spotlight got too big for them. And they showed, and I believe it might have been Miles Turner who quoted that they showed their age yesterday. And really, they got up. It is inexcusable to have those type of turnovers with that.
Agree.
Yeah, with that. I mean, they made poor decisions.
You could
put it on Coach Carlisle, and I think most people would say that he deserves 75 to 80% of the blame. Yeah, pretty much all of it, but a little bit of accountability has to go to the players as well.
And I think 80-85% is way too high, because it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta have better awareness as a player. Like some of those turnovers, you can't put that on the coach for some of those, like the one turnover at damn near half court where Halliburton just dribbled it out of bounds. He did that twice, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You haven't done this all year. But then you have all playoffs. But then you have Siakam, who won a championship. He's a vet. He is probably the most experienced guy on that team, defending Jaylen Brown at the end of the game, under 10 seconds left, up 3, and you don't foul. Like, forget Jaylen Brown getting to the corner, foul him. Foul him.
So I have mixed feelings about that, right? So you're right. So the correct basketball play, if you're up by 3, is you always foul. You don't allow them to shoot. He allowed him to get in a position to where he could shoot. Yep. So I did agree with him just basically not trying to foul him and make it a 4-point play.
He shouldn't have let him get to that position.
But so here's the thing about Siakam, right? And maybe I'm off on this too. When I watched him with the Raptors, I really, really, really liked his game.
Okay.
Lately, I don't know, man. It's just not like, and I'm sure like like last series, it didn't seem like he was just all there. He's there. He's on the court. You see him kicking the soccer ball. I mean, with the basketball, like, soccer is his first sport. And then it just.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
I mean, you ain't seen him pregame kicking the basketball like a soccer.
Hey, you finish it. Why you have to bring that up? Like, I mean, he's done that all his whole career, man.
Yeah, but it looks like he would rather be on a soccer
field.
Scott,
just keep with your point. Get to your point. I don't like the way this is going.
Yeah.
Hey, what? His play don't seem the same.
Yeah, I forgot my damn point. But anyway, I have more memories of him kicking the basketball like a soccer ball than his actual performance. I just say that.
Okay. I think it was a great addition to Adam. I personally just feel like the team as a whole is really not that. I think they just overachievers. I don't think that the Pacers. I mean, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, but to me, that's telling about the Eastern Conference. I don't think that they're one of the top teams. Well, clearly they're one of the top teams in the East, but when I look at them, I don't. Maybe they got fortunate because the Knicks had all those injuries, and the Bucks had injuries. Now I do feel like they could have beat the Bucks. I seen them play the Bucks in person, and one thing I'll give credit to the Pacers is that they play hard, and they'll never lack effort. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I'm not saying that they got lucky. Well, they did. They definitely got lucky. The first 2 teams that they played had a ton of injuries, and the Bucks had their top 2 guys out.
But you know what it is? It's they don't play defense. They're an offensive team. I mean, they can score with anybody. But you look at the score yesterday. I mean, what was it? 135 and 133 or something crazy like that. And if you look at basketball, and this is maybe it's an old school mentality, the playoffs, it tends to have a little bit more defensive intensity. Like it's hard to score in the playoffs because everybody is locked in. Every possession counts. Yeah. It's not the 90s anymore, but I can remember games to where teams probably didn't break 80 points. You know what I mean? Like it was tough drawing out.
I thought they played some good defense in Game 7. I mean, they held them under 100. I think they won by 30.
Yeah, but typically throughout, like what tests would be against Boston. One thing I do got to give Boston credit is they figured out how to win.
Well, they're the most experienced team left in the playoffs, and they're one of the most experienced teams. I mean, you got to think about it. Think about this for a second. Jason Tatum got drafted in 2017, and Jaylen Brown was the
He was there. No, he was there the year before.
Yeah. So, but since Jason Tatum's been there, they've been to the Western Conference Finals, I want to say 6 times. I mean, Eastern Conference Finals, I think it's 6 times since he's been there. Like, that is crazy. That is damn good. So, yes, they haven't gotten over the hump as far as winning the championship. They've been to the finals how many times? Once?
Yeah.
They've been to the finals once. They're probably going to be the second time. But you got to give them credit for that. And I think that over everything will help them win a championship. I personally just don't believe that they're going to win the championship. I don't think Boston. They're fool's gold, and they're technically a deep team, but I don't believe in them. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So Jason Tatum, you just ran off his accolades of, Eastern Conference Finals, been to one final.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
I won't put Jaylen Brown in this, but I believe more of the pressure is going to go to Jason Tatum.
Absolutely.
You got Luka,
mm-hmm.
and then you got Anthony Edwards. I don't believe anybody from the Pacers will be under that type of scrutiny because I don't think that nobody expects them to win. And Siakam, outside of Pacer fans, and then Siakam has a ring. So, with Halliburton and, Miles Turner, it just is what it is. Right. Nobody's going to put them on that type of pedestal. But, and I think you can kind of put.
You got to put Kyrie in there.
You can put Kyrie in there. I don't know if you put Karl Anthony Towns in that conversation. Rudy Gobert, nobody really cares. No, I'm just saying, like if they don't win the championship, nobody's going to go running, Rudy Gobert. You couldn't get it done. Right. That's what I mean. No, he's a great defensive player, but I just, nobody's going to hold that against him. Anthony Edwards, I think he's under a different pressure. And I want to tell you what type of pressure he's under.
Okay.
He runs the risk of never having this success again. I believe he's going to have the success, but we've seen players that, let's say they get to the conference finals and it just becomes tougher years and years and years after, and then they never get back. So he's experiencing this success at a young age, but we don't know what the future holds for all his players. And the West is consistently tough.
That's true.
So it's possible that, he's got the Jordan comparisons, but maybe he doesn't get back to this point. So, he has the pressure of, can I get it done now? Because I think you've kind of said it. He's got really good chance of winning the championship this year. I mean, if there's a year to do it, you're looking at your prediction, they can get past Dallas. More than likely, they could beat whoever's in the East. Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to be the face of the league.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. But I think his mentality and the way he plays and the way he galvanizes the troops, he'll be back in the Western Conference Finals. I think that he's that much of a dog. So we had KD, right? I use KD for an example. When KD was in OKC, they got to him, Westbrook, Harden. I think Kendrick Perkins on that team too.
Yeah, Kendrick Perkins.
What's the other center?
Steven Adams.
It was the other one.
Nick Collison.
No, Ibaka.
Oh, Ibaka. I forgot about Ibaka.
Oh, was Nick Collison on that team?
Yeah,
I guess he was. Yeah. So they had a team that everybody thought that was pretty similar to Minnesota. I think they're but they ain't no Miami in the East right now, right? There ain't nobody who I'll be like, yo, you understand? They gonna win the championship. And so even when James Harden left, I believe James Harden left the following year. He was there the following year and left after that, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, you would think that a team like that would get back to the finals, and they didn't. He ended up having to go to Golden State, which the year before they were in the conference finals. You know, it's not like they didn't make it to the conference. They were in the conference finals, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they had a 3-1 lead. They had a 3-1 lead against the team that had the best record, the best regular season record ever.
Of all time.
So they got back there, and you would think a team like that, they would get over the hump. Like Anthony Edwards, to me, and again, I could be wrong, but Anthony Edwards seems like he has that dog in him to push those guys over the hump to get. So if Kevin Durant had an Anthony Edwards type mentality, which I would think that Russell Westbrook does. I don't think Russell Westbrook is as talented as Anthony Edwards. Russell Westbrook is damn good. I don't think he's as talented as Anthony Edwards. And Russell Westbrook has that dog. I don't think anybody would disagree. But Kevin Durant was the guy. He was the MVP. He was the guy. He's the leader. He's supposed to be the leader, but he wasn't the leader. It was more Russell Westbrook than him. If Kevin Durant had that Anthony Edwards trait of galvanizing the troops, being that dog, talking that smack, whatever you got to do, they would have beat Golden State that year and went to the finals, right? And then it would have been like, damn, you would look at Kevin Durant in a totally different light. I think that Anthony Edwards not only wins this series, but possibly gets back within the next 2 years. I'm not going to say he's going to get back there the following year because the West ain't getting no weaker. The West ain't getting no weaker.
So that's the point that I was going to make is everything that you said is dead on. I mean, anybody like this guy's legit. And we've been talking about this guy all year. Everybody on ESPN has been talking about this guy. Like he passes the eye test, saying he does nothing short of show out. He's got the potential to be better, just because of his age, right? Which becomes scary. But you just hit on the key point is we're witnessing the changing of the guard, but it's other players that maybe they're not Anthony Edwards, but they're going to have something to say too. And
absolutely.
You know, the two rookies, even though Chet Holmgren, you know, he's not really he's a rookie, but he's not a rookie. But I mean, him and Wemby, I mean, like OKC is not going anywhere. You know, like it's a change in the guard. I know it took me a while just to adapt to it because we've been searching all year for that player that makes you want to turn on the TV and watch basketball. I mean, we've talked about it countless times. Like, when's the season going to start? When it felt like they did the play-in tournament and there was nothing to get excited about in the NBA. Like you just like, oh yeah, this is this score or this team is there because, and maybe because they weren't broadcasting as much of his games, but he's must-see TV. Yeah. I mean, that you're right. And he is. So, I mean, real quick because we're about to end this basketball talk, who do you have winning both series? I got Boston and my heart wants to tell me Minnesota.
Okay.
I think Dallas is going to win. And I am going to go out on a limb and say Dallas will be the NBA champion. I think Kyrie
Okay. All right.
is going to be the unsung hero.
Yeah, just FYI, people, Scott don't sound confident at all.
No, because I really don't. You know what it is? We're watching really good basketball, and not being a fan of any of the teams, but still being able to get excited about just watching really good basketball. I feel like, other than the Pacers, and not by much, I mean, they're there, they deserve to be there. There is no clear-cut consensus team that you're like, oh, well, they got it. You know, I think in a lot of years, like, you could say that about Denver, right? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a challenge them, but for the most part, most people knew that Denver was going to win. You know, when Golden State was going on their run, like, you knew Golden State was going to win. When LeBron was playing at the peak of his powers, like, you knew LeBron was going to win. But I think for the first time in a long time, we don't know who's going to win.
That's true. Nah, but I'll be a little quicker.
Yeah, it took me a long time.
No, that's cool. Nah, I got I agree. I have Boston, but I have Minnesota. I think I've been on the Minnesota train for quite some time.
And that might be good luck. I bet against them.
Yeah, you know, me going against a team in Dallas seems a little strange, but whatever. It is what it is. Met Mark Cuban this year. Smoked the Kyrie. Seen Luka get a. Did he get a triple? He did get a cheap triple double this year. I mean, you know, but is this something that I'm seeing? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, yo. I was looking for the prices of tickets to go to the Minnesota game in the Western Conference Finals. Then I looked at the prices and I stopped looking.
Oh man,
I wasn't paying that type of money. But it's good to see. Like you said, you got these teams that you don't necessarily have a rooting interest for. These aren't the teams that you normally root for. So it's like, oh, this is cool. It's just it makes it a whole lot easier to watch the game.
Yeah, just to watch it
yeah. So all right, let's get to the winner of the week. All right.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
So this week I've been torn. Right. So earlier today, you asked me who my winner of the week was. And you caught me off guard because sometimes what I'll do is I'll just save stories, right? So as stuff happens throughout the week, I'll just say, you know what? Potential winner. And I'll do screenshots of this so I don't forget them. So the guy that I highlighted was Harrison Buckner. Kansas City kicker. Everybody's probably heard the commencement speech. But then my good buddy called me and said, no, this is a no-brainer. Your winner of the week has to be Diddy. And I have to agree because Harrison Buckner, although he's got some pretty screwed up views and beliefs, but they're his views and beliefs, and that's, I mean, he's got the freedom to be whoever he is. He hasn't put his hands on anybody. And I think I've always looked at Diddy as somebody that you don't really want to mess with in the industry. You know, we've all heard the stories, and you know, I'm a firm believer that sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. But to see what he did to Cassie on that video was just downright egregious.
Yeah.
And for him to really, I felt like when he had the lawsuit, he kind of painted the picture like it was a money grab. And that, you know, she was just mad, a little disgruntled, and, you know, other people were just trying to go after his money. They were just being greedy. And just to find out that you did something that egregious, and there's other reports out there, and just how you tried to like really, I don't even want to say condone it, but you didn't sound remorseful when you were making it seem like it was a money grab. And just for that video to come out, man, I thought he was, man, my clear winner, and I've lost. And it's sad because I really feel like we have gotten in the habit of tearing down our heroes. And I didn't want to be one of those people to just rush to judgment or, act as if, I'm Mr. Perfect or anything like that. But
it was a good wrestler, by the way.
Huh? Mr. Perfect. Yeah, Mr. Perfect was the guy.
Good wrestler, yeah.
But I just, man, it was just crazy to watch that, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, guess I got some time today. So my thoughts. I think most people know, at our, college years, even high school, I was a fan of Diddy. I had Sean John Velour, bought all albums, for the most part. Even the latest one that came out, I want to say a year or two ago, I thought it was a really good piece of music. So, like you said, sometimes you kind of like people that you somewhat admire or, see in a positive light or things like that. You kind of like defend. I don't want to say defend. You kind of like don't rush to judgment as you would someone that you possibly dislike, right? So somebody like and I'm just going to use it just real quick, but Harrison Bucker, he had some views, but he also had some things that, it's his opinion. A lot of it was his opinion, and people may not agree with the things that he said, but at that point, who is he really hurting? He's just probably hurting some feelings. That's about it, right? Not necessarily, but it was his opinion. Then you have somebody like Diddy, who we've heard the reports initially, like you said, it was, and I'm like, man, it's just ironic, that it just seemed like it was for money. It was disgruntled employee, bitter ex-girlfriend. And I'm not saying that I said these things, but those are some of the things that were kind of like construed from the public, because Diddy is someone who's well liked, right? So I kind of like stayed away from it. You never heard me say no Diddy because I felt like it was corny. I was just like,
I like no Diddy.
No, yeah. So it was like I didn't, because I was like, damn, our people, we're so powerful. Like, people don't understand that we're so powerful that we could turn something into a phrase or whatever, and it overnight it's boom, it's shoot for the stars, right? And we control it. People don't realize, like, we control so much of everything, even though we're still far behind in the race. We control, like, we make a lot of things go, like, Black Twitter will tell you if something is legit or not. It is what it is.
Right.
So anyway, I was like, dang, this is crazy. So then the video comes out, and I'm gonna tell you this. One thing I despise, as a person that, I have my mom, I have my family, my sisters, my wife, my daughters, my female friends who I defend a lot, or just whatever, right? I despise a man that puts his hands on a woman who is not, especially a woman that's not hitting on him, right? Now, again, I think that as a man, you should find a way to control. You should find a way to control your emotions, one way or the other, right? And not to bring up, but Chris Brown situation. I mean, he was condemned to this day, right? People still bring up Rihanna. And I think that most people know that Rihanna was putting the beating on him as well, right? So in that situation, they both were wrong. What Chris Brown did wasn't right. He was absolutely wrong. And even then, I was like, yo, he's wrong. But Chris Brown didn't run from it. Chris Brown didn't say, try and make light. Now, I don't want to say did he make light of it, but Chris Brown didn't say, he didn't try to save face or whatever.
He accepted accountability.
He accepted accountability, went to rehab, did everything that he was supposed to do. That way you could say he was a kid, and not saying that, not making an excuse, but he was a kid. I want to say he was like 19, 20. They both were super young, and he made a mistake. And it's not like he kept on doing it. Now this video, I don't know what year it's from.
It's from 2016.
Okay, even better. So this man is at that time he's
probably about 45,
40 something, because he was born in 69. You gotta do the math. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. He's a full grown man, and the way he punched her. And he was stomping her and then dragged her. I seeing that video, I lost all respect for Diddy. Like it was. I ain't even call him Diddy no more. His name is Sean. And I felt like he was a coward. He was a bitch. He was anything you could think of. He was that, right? And I felt like at that point. This I don't know if there's a limitation, but he should get locked up.
It was a statute. Is a statute of limitations on it. But to your point, the way he was beating on her, it screamed. That's not your first time.
Definitely wasn't the first time.
It definitely screamed that I'm bigger as far as status. Mm-hmm. Right, you know what I mean? Like, because he didn't seem remorseful. Because even one hit is too much, right? Of a woman. But like when you start like kicking her, you're chasing her down the hall in the towel. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing a vase.
And then my thing is this. He used the excuse that he was drunk, right? And to me, there's no excuse. I don't because how the saying goes, what is it? A drunk mind? I forget how the saying
drunk like speaks to honest truth
or something, whatever. So I felt like that clearly wasn't the first time that happened, right? That might have been one of the last times that happened, right? But I feel like he's a coward in a sense because he used his power to intimidate her, and he knew that she was younger, she was an artist, and to me, it's no getting around this. He looks weak, right? And the apology looked even weaker because he didn't even apologize to her.
He would have been better off not saying anything.
Exactly. he did. Not only did he not apologize to her, he would never have said anything had that video not came out. So he wasn't sorry. No, he wasn't sorry that he did it. He was sorry he got caught.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of people that have been behind him, that have kind of shared our sentiments. So where it's kind of like, man, you know, something that we had talked about, and we'll bring it to the forefront a little bit, is a lot of his trouble started when he had the falling out with Ciroc, right?
Right.
And I was part of those that thought that maybe this could all be kind of linked a little bit, right? You know what I mean? He got to the point where
it is linked, though.
Yeah. More than likely. And, you know, us being Ciroc boys, we've
not no more,
but but yeah, it just, man, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for our culture, and it's just, I don't know what he's gonna do, but I've lost a ton of respect for him now.
Yeah, man, it's it's unfortunate, right? Because it's it's like now a lot of things are coming out, and it's starting to get to the point where I don't want to hear nothing else about our youth. Like everything that we saw, like Nickelodeon, and now you got Sean. I don't even know what else. R. Kelly. Some of these other artists that is probably pretty prominent in our youth, or these entertainers. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was whatever, and a lot of rumors go out for Bill Cosby. That's a whole nother subject because whatever. We have full video, and I tell you what. Ironically, when we started doing Off the Record, it was 10 years ago, and when we was in Richmond, and right when we first started, we started in September of 2014, and it was Ray Rice, and it was damn near the same type of thing. It's like, damn, I don't think he did. I think they probably just got into an argument. It was yada yada yada, and when you see him punch that lady, his wife, I think they were engaged at the time. Yeah. So when he punched her, he knocked her out and then dragged her out. Now they're still together. He's apologized. He's done everything. He's fought for women, and you got to give break, right?
And he lost everything. He lost everything.
And so he did the work, right? He did the work. He accepted accountability. Now I can't remember if he accepted accountability before. I just think he just kept quiet before the video came out. Once the video came out, because I think
he had the suspension.
He got suspended,
and
for
I think
he
got 2 games, and then the video
came out, and
they had to end up giving them 8 games, and then it was a big
backlash.
Wow.
Yep.
I think they might have even released him, or did they
let
him finish out the year?
No. He didn't play. He never played again. He got suspended, so they went from 2 games to 8 games. They added 6 games on there, and then there was a backlash. They suspended him for the season. He never played again. So then you had. It's just crazy. Now Ray Rice, there are people that don't like to forgive. I'm not one of those people, right? If his wife can forgive him, why can't the rest of it? And it's not like it just happened, and they've been having a back and forth. You didn't hear any, he's gotten the counseling. He's did everything he was supposed to do.
But even in that situation, I'm not saying that his wife did anything wrong.
Right.
But she accepted responsibility for what was going on with them.
Right.
And he made it seem like this is an isolated incident. My husband was wrong. He admitted that he was wrong. And again, like you said, they life has went on. They've got kids now. He's got to live with the fact that, one day his kids may see that on the internet. But the Diddy thing, like you said, it wasn't just that it wasn't the first time, but then it's like the cover up with it, right? And it's like he made it seem like everybody was out to get him and that he was the victim in all this. And it's just like, man, I want to tell you, he's got to be careful because the feds are involved in this. And that's what I heard that this videotape was found when they raided his house. I don't know how true that is. I'm sure people get it.
I don't know. What I'll say is though, he ain't the only one, right? And we talked about this, I think it was last year, with Dana White. Remember, Dana White slapped his wife or punched his wife, whatever he did, and no one said anything. Nobody said nothing. They people didn't really care, and I feel like that needs to be brought to the forefront as well, because again, it's on video, and once you get on video, it looks 10 times worse. You could have done it once. Now Ray Rice lost everything. He was. I don't even think he was 30 yet. Diddy's pretty much lost everything. He's filthy. My thing is he has daughters. It's just like,
yeah, I'm sure he's got his money
Right. I mean,
like tucked away. I'm pretty
and I
sure
don't
they're
even know
like
if he's back in the States. I don't know. I mean, because we do know when his house got raided, he was at on an island that didn't extradite anyone. So whatever. But Dana White, you know, he should be held accountable. And again, I know we was talking about Diddy and everything. But
you think that that's how you think that that's how he'll live out the remainder of his life, is just sitting on the island just chilling?
I don't know. I mean, because what can he do? What can he do out here? There's nothing he can do. If he goes anywhere, he's going to be questioned. Now he's rich enough to where he could come back to the States and build a fort around his damn house. He has that much damn money. But it's like he's not going to get any peace. Now, and it's unfortunate for his kids, right? Because now ultimately this is going to affect his son. His son's, he has a music career. It's going to affect his son's career. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Don't know what his daughter is going through. Then you got people coming out saying that he killed Kim Porter, or he had Kim Porter killed, and he got Biggie killed. And so those type of rumors I don't even get into, because we've been hearing Suge got Tupac killed, or Diddy got Tupac killed.
People just say anything.
Yeah. So that I don't even get involved in. Ultimately, in this situation here, he screwed up. It is what it is, and he looked even worse with his apology. I think that apology was, whoever advised him to do that was absolutely terrible, because it don't look like he was sorry. It just looks like ultimately he should have just said, "I'm sorry, I saw that video. I'm sorry I got caught," right? Because he didn't bring up Cassie. He didn't even have to say Cassie's name, but he could have apologized to her, apologized to her family.
So do you think that he was? So this is why I think he shouldn't have had a video. Do you think he was advised by his attorneys not to apologize by name? Because maybe it's something to where she can come back and sue him for more or something like that.
That's possible.
If he acknowledges, maybe it was something in their
NDA.
Yeah, NDA, to where he wasn't going to speak on it. But if he started speaking on it, maybe
we literally looked at the computer or our phones and said, "Yo, he punched the shit out of her. He kicked her." What can't he? What can't he? I mean,
it was weird. I was at work, and I go through maybe like spells, maybe like an hour, 2 hours, like before, not checking my phone. And the first time I checked my phone, you had posted it and some chat that we're in, and just said Diddy is done. I just ain't seeing it. Not literally. It said that he is done. Right. So I clicked on it and I was like, "Oh shit, Diddy is done." Like he is. It is a wrap. Yeah. He's done. Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. It is what it is. We do the battlegrounds, and it's funny. I mean, that incident is not funny. What I would say is funny is how people are scared to play certain artists' music and things like that. And I'm interested to see what happens in regards to his music, his catalog, because I mean he's been involved in catalog. He's been involved in the birth of so many people's careers, and his music. The production that he's done for, you look at Jodeci and Mary J. Blige and Usher and Biggie and 112. I mean the favorite total. It's like so many people that he's involved in getting their career started.
You know what's got to happen and what's going to happen to him? He needs to sit on that island and just be quiet for about a decade.
I mean, Russell Simmons has done it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just be quiet.
Do yoga.
Yeah. Chill out. Just chill out.
like disappear.
Yeah, disappear. And people,
They're
no
not
matter
gonna
how,
forgive- they're not going to forgive.
they're not going to forgive him or they're not going to forget. But no matter how, like time heals everything. I mean, you brought it up with Ray Rice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, he
that
got a
was,
statue.
but think about how big that was at the time period.
It's crazy.
That like he was like the face of domestic abuse for like athletes, and I mean,
Mhm.
he was literally the first time that somebody had really been caught like in a public place on the camera, and
Mhm.
you could see it that clear, and you could say, "Yeah, this is it." But in due time, I'm not ever condoning what he did, but it doesn't seem as bad as it did when it first broke.
Yeah. So what I'll say is this, and I'll leave it um at this, and we'll leave it alone for this week. And stop streaming on Instagram. It's okay. We're still here on Facebook and YouTube. And Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. But I'll say this. It's unfortunate that, with those situations, man, and when you see some of, I'm not gonna say he was a hero to me, but he was somebody that I admired the grind that we knew. You know what I'm saying? Coming, interning, working for Uptown and getting it how he got it. I always admired the hustle, right? I did, but this changes everything. It's like, golly, I can't support this. It's just like, damn, yo. So, you just move on.
He's accomplished a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, the wealth that he generated for himself
and others.
and others, and where he came from, like you have to respect that,
Right.
and you have to respect all his accomplishments. Well, you don't have to do anything, but I mean, what he's been able to accomplish as a black male, like you're proud of that. But I lost respect for the man, Sean
Absolutely.
Combs.
Yep. Same here. And I know
not his accomplishments,
yeah.
but the man.
And he kind of like, I know, not necessarily on off the record, but outside of it, he kind of like, damn, 50 doing a lot, yo. Why is 50 doing all of this? And it's like, damn, how much more does this guy know on Diddy? Like, how much more he sold the documentary to Netflix. They didn't say how much he sold it for, but he literally was gonna put out a documentary called Did He Do It? Right? And so he sold all of that to Netflix. And my thing is this. To me, 50.
So let's talk about that, right? Because maybe you could provide a little bit of insight before you get too far into it. Okay, so 50, he's basically been trolling Diddy on social media, right? So there's been a lot of people that have been outspoken about that. Now, the series that you're talking about that he sold to Netflix, what is that supposed to be about?
Everything that we've been hearing about the abuse, the abuse of power, the stories from victims, victims that we may not have heard from, victims that we have heard from. Somebody said something about Kim Porter in there. I personally don't know everything. I don't know who's on it because we haven't seen it. But it'll be similar to, say, a Surviving R. Kelly. Yeah. So now, and I don't know if it's as bad. I don't know, but I can almost guarantee you that this surveillance video is going to be in there. And my thing with 50, it just seemed like it was personal. Like it seemed like
he used to ghostwrite for Diddy at one point.
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure he probably wrote something. They've done songs together, so he's probably wrote some things. But it feels to me, with 50, it feels personal.
I Get Money, right? They did. I'm trying to think of what songs they did together, but I digress.
Yeah. So but it just feels personal. It feels like, I remember when 50 was trying to sign. I think 50 was trying to sign Shine.
I remember that.
50 was when 50 signed Mace. So I think 50 had to deal with Puffy in other in business, and I feel like he felt like he didn't do business in good standard. Like he felt like he was always trying to snake somebody, get over, and things like that. So I feel like this is his like payback. I don't know. But now that he sold it to Netflix, it makes you think like, what information does he have that he hasn't told anyone? And he clearly has something, because he wouldn't be trolling the way he does and not have anything. Well, no, it's 50. So but more than likely he had. I mean, 50's a powerful person as well. So it's going. I don't know, but at this point,
but I have found it so for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 documentaries that I've been basically like clamoring for.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been interested in The Rock,
mm-hmm.
and I've always been interested in Bad Boy. And
right.
when I forget what series it was, but they talked about Death Row, they talked about Rough Riders, they talked about Master P.
The BET, they had a series.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, and everybody was thinking, or at least I was thinking, and a lot of people in our close circle is, it'd be nice if they did a Bad Boy one. It'd be nice if we ever get a Rock story. And the conclusion that I came to is, you never really see a unsung or any sort of like real tribute to everything that they accomplished, right?
Right.
And it goes back to what we were talking about, is everything that he's accomplished as just a black male. You would think that it would be some sort of just something out there.
Yeah.
And I've always found it strange that there was nothing out there. So
right.
That's going to be interesting.
This ain't gonna be a Bad Boy doc. I can tell you that. It's gonna be oh man, it's gonna be bad. But boy, you see what I did there? Bad, whatever. But nonetheless, I guess when it comes out, we'll watch it. And I think I mean, we got other stuff. So we didn't really talk NFL. And mini camps started. Dak said he don't play for money. He feels like the deal is gonna get done. I feel like the deal is gonna get done. Who else? They said that Jaden Daniels looks damn good in camp. That he's doing his thing. Aaron Rodgers said that he's gonna put on a show, and I'm not sure who really cares. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid were defending Harrison Bucker, saying that they see him every day and they know that he's a good person and yada yada yada. I don't think he's a bad person. He just has some different beliefs. Yeah. And I mean, and he defended his wife and some women in that statement. But whatever, we can talk about that next week. I'm trying to go through some camps real quick. Detroit is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, they look good and they got pieces. But we'll talk we got plenty of time to talk football. 49ers. So look, we'll close it here. So let me ask you a question. You saw the schedule. What you think y'all record? Just off top, what do you think? If you had to pick a record out of your 17 games, just give me what you think y'all record would be.
11-6.
11-6. That's respectable. I think you're trying to be humble right now, and I really don't believe you. But so
No,
whatever.
no. I mean, seriously,
Mhm.
I think that Brock Purdy is going to have a tremendous year.
Okay.
The good thing that I've been hearing about him is last year he was recovering from like surgery,
Right.
and then this year is like the first like real off season
Mhm.
that he's had to like really like work on this game.
Right.
So I think that's it's going to pay dividends.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's huge for an athlete to where like if you're trying to rehab opposed to where you're actually concentrating on getting better and putting in work.
Yeah. So I saw some videos. I don't know if I sent it to you. I saw some videos talking about 17-0.
Nah.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
Nah.
You want me to? I'll send it to you.
No. I believe you. I'm just.
Matter of fact, I posted it on my stories the other day.
No, we're not. We're not.
Nobody's going 17-0.
No. I don't believe that. And I don't subscribe to that. I mean, look, what we need to do. And I was listening to Fred Warner today.
Okay.
And he says something in perspective, right?
Okay.
You have to work really hard and you have to like improve. But for us to get to the Super Bowl and not win means that you have to work harder than you did before, right? Because you put in X amount of hours, and at the end of the year, it wasn't good enough. So
that's true also.
Yeah, you didn't get where you wanted to go. You didn't reach your goal. So you've got to figure out how to work a little bit harder. So I thought that was a good mindset. And he said that that's what he's been preaching. And that's what some of the other guys have been preaching. Mm-hmm. We just need to stick to that. Like, let's just continue to try to get better and put in more work than we did the year before. So, good quote by Fred Warner.
Shout out to Fred Warner. All right. Well, Lamar Jackson looks good. That was the last thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, lost all that weight.
Yeah. Be afraid, okay?
Yeah.
Because you got somebody that's fast. That's probably going to be faster now. Oh my gosh! But shout out to him. I am a fan of Lamar Jackson. I think that he's a damn good person. Forget the player. I think he's a good person. All right. Well, we're done.
We're done. We got a game that we got to play. To remind you, look, it's too late.
So look, follow Scott. Follow Scott. Follow me. Follow Off the Record on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. What else we got? Twitter,
TikTok. But that's about to be banned, so you don't have to follow me there.
Hey, listen, until it's banned, follow
everywhere.
Where's Pinterest? I don't think we got Pinterest, but whatever. What else can you follow on? OnlyFans? I'm kidding. I don't know. I ain't meaning it. But I think we're done. I think it was a well-rounded show. We got serious for a minute, and Scott doesn't like soccer. All right, this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Boy, Scotty B.
We out.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo. And the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.